Today, we are talking about 3 little letters that every homebuyer has probably thought about at one time or another.
If you're considering buying a house that is part of an HOA and wondered what is a homeowners association or what does an HOA do, this video covers some of the things you'll want to know.
Hello everybody, we're Glenn and Jodi Meter with Rocket City Homes at Southern Shade Realty located in North Alabama.
We get asked quite often, what is an HOA? And that's what we're going to be talking about today.
We'll also discuss some of the pros and cons of an HOA.
No matter where you are in the Rocket City or not, the HOA definition is the exact same, and that HOA acronym stands for Homeowners Association.
A homeowners association is an organization that makes and enforces rules for multiple unit buildings like condos or townhomes, as well as planned communities that have single-family homes.
And a lot of times people want to know exactly what an HOA is, and more specifically, what does an HOA do?
It can be a very polarizing topic, and people typically either love homeowners associations or they hate them.
If you currently have a property within an HOA, then you're automatically a member.
As a member of an HOA, you are expected to abide by the rules and regulations and pay fees known as the HOA dues.
Every HOA has its own rules on some type of documentation, usually called the Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions, also referred to as CCRs.
You can usually get a hold of this document before you even purchase a property in a specific HOA community.
This is helpful especially if you have a specific question that you want answered and the purchase is dependent on that answer from the HOA.
Some examples would be if you're allowed to build a garage behind the home, or if you're allowed to extend your patio, or even add a fence to the yard, and what protocols are required in order to do those things.
We should also mention that homeowners associations are very different for single-family communities versus multifamily communities.
A prime example is that with townhomes and condos, the homeowner association fees are typically higher because they cover more maintenance of the multifamily units.
Typically, the association is responsible for the exterior siding, the roof, landscaping, snow removal, trash pickup, and things of that nature.
In a single-family community, the dues do not cover most of those items since that's what the homeowner would be responsible for doing.
For example, we have to mow our own yard, prune the trees, plant flowers, and maintain the exterior.
Another common question that is asked about HOA is if there's a standard fee. The short answer is no, there's no standard fee.
The dues really depend on the community that you're choosing to move into.
Many different variables go into how much the dues are, like whether or not it's a gated community, number of homes, if there's a pool, clubhouse, fitness center, and some of these other extra amenities that might be available.
In some communities, they may mow the grass for the homeowners in the front, and the homeowners are only responsible for the backyard. And these HOAs can also be a bit more expensive.
There's a whole bunch of different things that you have to look into with these type of amenities and what the HOA is going to offer.
And the best way to find out is just to ask your realtor, what do HOA fees cover in this community? What are the dues? What amenities are included? And if you can see those covenants and restrictions.
These are all things you're definitely within your rights to ask as a buyer.
Next, let's get into a couple of pros and cons of HOAs versus no HOA.
Our first point is definitely a pro.
If an HOA organization is well run, you can actually find that living in an HOA community can be a blessing because it could potentially increase your property value.
That increase in property value can come from the community acquiring a certain look with maintained lawns, specific rules on what can and cannot be done to the homes, so they're all consistent and just keeping a certain standard look.
This protects the community and property values since everyone is expected to maintain and sustain the standard of the community.
A community that does not have any rules or restrictions could have a crazy neighbor that doesn't mow their grass or has a whole bunch of junk cars parked in the front yard.
This can decrease the value of the community because that one crazy neighbor doesn't take care of their property.
Now, let's discuss a con of living in an HOA community.
If that HOA community is poorly managed, then it can be a nightmare.
Basically, if they're not maintaining the financial reserves, which is where all the money of the HOA dues are held to maintain and regulate the community, then they'll not be able to maintain the community without asking its members for more money through a special assessment.
In our experience, being on the real estate side, we can usually tell an aesthetic difference very quickly and easily if a neighborhood has a homeowners association or not.
Now, that's not to say neighborhoods without an HOA are not well taken care of.
There are definitely some advantages to not having a homeowners association.
Yeah, let's say you have an RV and you don't want to pay for storage.
Without an HOA, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to park it on your property.
In addition, a lot of people don't want an association because they may want to have chickens or goats in their yard if the city will allow it.
If any of these reasons apply to you, then great, an HOA isn't for you.
It's definitely something important to think about as you're house hunting because not everybody wants to have an RV next door or have farm animals in the neighbor's backyard.
But some people want that specifically, and that's why they don't want to have an association.
So that brings us to the point of saying just make sure you're reading the association documents before you close on the home.
Because the reality of it is, if they don't allow street parking or RVs or boats, and that's one of the reasons that you want to buy a home, then that home is just not for you.
Well, we hope this information has been helpful if you're in the process of deciding whether or not you want to live in an HOA community.
If it has, give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel.
We release new videos every other Tuesday, all things real estate and all about the Rocket City.
And if you hit that notification bell, you'll get notified each time that we do.
As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.